welcome you all on behalf of the Advertising Club Madras for this session on the challenge of branding industrial products. One small request, if you could kindly switch off your phones or put them on silent, it would be helpful. I welcome Mr. Ranganath, Managing Director of Grundfos Pumps. I welcome all of you for this first session on Gyan Series, sponsored by the Hindu Group. I would like to request Mr. Seshadri, past President, Advertising Club Madras, to hand over a bouquet and welcome Mr. Ranganath onto the dais. Once again, I welcome Mr. Ranganath, Managing Director of the Grundfos Pumps India Private Limited from its inception in 1998. He completed his mechanical engineering from College of Engineering, Gindi in 1978 and his post-graduation in business management from XLRI Jamshedpur in 1980. He has over 30 years of experience covering marketing, sales, design, project management, finance, and HR. Prior to joining Grundfos Pumps, he was the director of IAEC Industries, making boilers, burners, pollution control equipment, incinerators, and energy recovery equipment. He has earlier worked in the Middle East, erecting captive power plants up to 5 megawatt and transmission and distribution lines. His first job was with Eicher Tractors in sales. His job has necessitated travel to many countries and he has been involved in technology transfer to India from other countries. Grundfos India under him has been very successful and also has the distinction of having one of the first green-rated buildings in India. His focus being on water and energy conservation, and he is the chairman of CII GBC Water Management Council and the vice chairman of the CII Tamil Nadu Council. He is also the president of the Madras Management Association. I would welcome Mr. Ranganath for this speech.
This is the pointer. Okay. Yeah, good evening, everybody. I presume you can hear. Yeah, well, when Vijay asked me to talk about branding, I was wondering, what am I doing talking about branding to people who are living this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis? And there's nothing that I can teach you. Then I thought, what am I supposed to say when I come here? Of course, I thought the best thing is to talk about the pain points that we have when you look at branding. And from my point of view as a professional in an industry, what it takes to make the difference in the market. Ultimately, I presume this is not my definition of branding. Somebody has defined it this way. It's a perception of value that a customer believes that they obtain in purchasing a particular product. I presume it is the same for any product or service that we talk of, whether it is industry or consumer product or any kind of service. But I think the main reason why we brand, from my point of view, is to be in the minds of customers. I would even say capture their minds on a sustained basis, and that's why perhaps we brand products. Brands are becoming quickly the basis for the most critical business decisions. Wherever you see, whatever you do, everything is getting branded now. And more so when I see the younger generation, where they are so specific, especially kids. And I have stories to say when one of the kids says, no, he went to go, it's my younger kid. The restaurant offered him Pepsi. He says, no, I don't drink Pepsi, I need Coke. I said, what makes the difference? How do you know? I don't have any difference in the taste. No, Coke is the brand I like. And I can't explain that. I had no idea why Coke is the brand he likes. So obviously it's making a great difference to the lives of people. Whether it should or not, I'm not debating. But it is making a difference to people's lives. So it's very important that we look at a brand and why we brand and what what do we need to brand our products the right way. It's perhaps a little easier if you look at branding consumer products or products that have an aspirational value. But if it comes to products like the industrial products that I deal with, pumps, it's such a thing without any what you call aura about it. There is no mystery about it. Nobody even looks at it. You know, if you want to buy a watch or a car, perhaps you will go around. If you want to buy dresses, maybe your wife goes around. But has any of you gone to buy a pump? Never. So it's something which is not very. So there are many of these kind of products in the industry. And how do we go about creating a brand for it? What do we think? I mean, this is again something that is common for all brands. We are trying to capture minds in the space of consumers. We are trying to differentiate our product or service. There's a lot of noise in the market. And the current generation compared to the generation that I come from and compared to the generation which my father came from, there have been tremendous progresses. But I think it seems to be an exponential curve now. It's going up like that. So the difference between my son and me is far greater than the difference between my father and me. And the way the mind thinks is completely different. They have the attention span of all of 2 seconds, I think. And that's the current generation today. They cannot be steady in one thing, and every 2 seconds something is changing in their minds, in their heads, in the way they do things and what they watch. Well, television, for instance. The remote is there, and it's going from channel to channel to channel. And the first thing that we do in an advertisement comes to shift the channel. In all this, how are you going to brand your product? How are you going to retain people? I mean, how are you going to capture the people's minds, and how are you going to be in their minds? There are many advertisements that I see. The great advertisement, I don't know what the product is. Even after 5 times, I don't know what the product is. And it's a strange situation that communication, how are we going to go about doing this? And what does the brand do? It tells the world what we stand for. It expresses our values. It sends a clear message of what we are. We ensure that we are. But all this is of no use if we don't ensure we are unique and we are interesting. Creating an interest is a very vital part of the brand especially for an industrial product. The rest of it, it's from our point of view. We say, okay, we want to make people understand who we are, but who cares? The customer doesn't care much about it. Now, in this little time that you have to sort of do something which sort of catches the attention, and he sort of dwells on that. We also say that, okay, for brands, we create involvement in our company and thereby increase loyalty of our customers. But we also use brand for other things. Branding is just not advertising or just putting a few things in the papers. It's quite deep in the way we look at it. Branding, of course, for anybody is also increases the loyalty of your own employees. It also allows you to bring in the best of talents. It sharpens the profile that we have. It attracts the best skills in the market. And of course, it makes you stand out from competitors. And most important, it ensures a long-term survival. Sustainability is a very, very important issue these days. I don't know the exact numbers, but I understand that almost 60% of the listed companies in the US never existed about 15 years ago. And that's, I understand, the same with all stock markets, which is amazing. I don't know the exact numbers, so don't quote me on that, but this is what I heard, which means that over the last 15, 20 years, there have been so many new companies, and this is bound to happen. How do you really, really differentiate between the products that they offer? So this is the situation that we are in, and this is what we look at when we look at brand building. From our point of view, when you look at industrial products, one of the difficulties that we have when we look at how to achieve this is to identify our customers. We are a B2B kind of situation. We're not a B2C kind of situation. We don't have much of a contact with our end user. And you really don't really need to, because we have a distribution network, and then you have an OEM. So he is not really the end user. We have a contractor which we sell to. And this is more or less the same for most industrial products, unlike soaps or wristwatches or shampoos, where you have a direct contact with your customer. You appeal to the customer likes what he sees or what she sees. I was asking a lady, on what basis do you buy this shampoo? She said, the color of the box is nice. I said, wow. So, I asked my guys, do you think if you make very colorful pumps, some lady would come and say, okay, I like this color, and she would buy it? And of course, my guys were thinking I was crazy, but I had a serious thought about it. There's a lady sitting here, what would make you buy a pump? If I give you nice colors that you like, would you really pick it up? These are issues that you guys have to think. Because there's so much in the market, everything looks the same. And is it the packaging, is it the color, is it what? Do people really look behind what the brand stands for, the values that the brand stands for? We listed a lot of things that we think it should be. And perhaps you guys are listing a lot of things it should be. What is the reality? Very difficult to say. And one of the most difficult things for us is to identify our customer. What does he or she really want? And when you look at an industrial product, which is not of any personal use, it's very difficult to say what it is. But we can segment the customers into those who are die-hard loyalists, those that are sitting on the fence somewhere, and those will never buy this. For some reason or the other, they will never buy it. So this is the kind of segmentation we come up with. And then we try to clarify what is important for them. Why is this die-hard loyalist of a brand continue to buy the brand at a premium, whereas the others are not? So this is an answer which is very difficult, but we try giving our own little answers to this, saying this and that, and satisfy ourselves. But I would guess it would be good if you guys also think about it. And then we start narrowing this list to top 3 or 4 priorities, because there's a big list of it. And I say, okay, let's stay focused on this, gear every decision and activity towards delivering these top 4 priorities, then keep our fingers crossed. Because it's still a very empirical thing. There are no studies on that great on industrial branding as to why this comes about. The next thing is very, very true. We have to stay boringly consistent in the way we send out the messages on our values. Very, very boring. And we have to be thoroughly innovative in the way we say it. We got to keep changing that, because the requirement, or I won't say so much in the industrial products, but in the minds of people change so much, and they are kind of influenced by all kinds of inputs that are in today. And today it's an information age, and there's an information overload. Just this morning I was telling my guys, I want to cut off, I don't want to read newspapers anymore. I said, why? I said, so much of muck is going in that I have no space for things that I really need for my work. So constantly we are getting in inputs. And we are storing it, the mind stores it for some strange reason. And then why are we having this overload? We don't need this overload. It's exactly the same with all the TV channels and all the newspapers. So how is it that we can differentiate? How is it that we can sort of focus on this little, what you call a target segment, to really put across what we stand for and get them to understand that and buy the product? So every act that we do should be in sync and resonate in the market. Brand building is just not communicating. What you don't communicate also builds brands. Very simple. You call a company, nobody answers the phone. You're not communicating, but you're branded. What sort of company is this? They don't. So every little thing you do, you have your letterhead which is badly printed. That's it. There are images that are being formed in people, and you're already getting branded. So how do you have these values that are consistently and constantly being reinforced in every act that you do? And when it comes to a B2B situation, it's not